Wednesday night, February 14th, 2018. We're continuing a class that we started last week, reading a Teshuvah from Acham Chaim David Halevi regarding a completely non-religious person, a person that's anti-religious and has removed himself from the entire Sibur, from the entire Jewish nation. Do his children have to mourn over him? So now we're on page Resh Tet Zayin, page 216 on the bottom of the page. Hetir Abilut.
Which halak is this?
This is Halak Hamishi, Halak He, in Asel Kharab. Hetir Abilut. והנה, בנידון שלך אני חושב שכל בני המשפחה אין להם עניין באבילות, ואתה היחיד השואל. So the person asking the question is the only person who has found religion. The rest of his siblings, in other words, the children of this person who's about to die, are not connected to Judaism whatsoever, so they're not asking any questions. They don't know, they don't care. You're the only one. Okay, so Chaim David Halevi is addressing this individual. So let's see. וכיוון שכך אין צורך לחפש דרכי היתר. There's no heter to look for because it's completely clear that you are not obligated to mourn. Like we mentioned, this is the ruling of Harambam and Shulchan Aruch. אלא שאם אין אתה רוצה לשאת בביתך כדי שלא יתמהו הבריות עליך, שהרי אינם יודעים שפטור אתה מאבלות, ובוודאי שאין אתה רוצה לפרסם סיבת הפיטור מטעמים מובנים ביותר, תוכל לשבת בביתך כל 7 ימים, אלא שלא תנהג כדין אבל כלל. But we understand it's a sticky situation. Not everybody knows the details of your father's life, and you don't want to publicize it most probably because you don't want people talking about you, about him, about the family, this and that. So you want to stay in your house, stay low-key for a week. Okay, stay in your house, don't go out, don't go anyplace. All right, but do not mourn at all. In other words, you're not sitting on the floor, you're not doing, you're not following, you're not ripping your clothes, you're not gonna not wear leather shoes. Just stay home, okay? Stay, like a home vacation type of thing. אלא שבעסקי בזה, עלה בדעתי שאילו נשאלה השאלה במשפחה שומרת מסורת שאחד מבניה פירש מדרכי ציבור ומת, והיו רוצים להתאבל עליו משום פגם משפחה, נראה הדבר שאין בכך איסור, שכן פיטור נאמר בעניין ולא איסור. So as Chaim David Halevi is saying, so as I started to answer your question and investigate the issues involved, came into my mind what to do if this question was asked to me from a family a member of the family who removed itself from all Torah, passes away, and the family has some sort of sense of tradition, and they want to mourn because they don't want to bring upon a stain upon the family, saying, "Look at this family, they don't even mourn for their, for their lost ones." So it would seem to me that there's no isur in mourning. It would not be forbidden to mourn because the halakha talks about pitur. You are exempt from mourning. It does not say it is forbidden to mourn. And things are clarified further in the response of the Rosh. Okay, you asked if you have to mourn over somebody who has turned away, and not only turned away, but basically denies God. החטניה במסכת שמחות הפורש מדרכי ציבור אין מתעסקים בו כל עיקר ואין עוננים ואין מתאבלים עליהם עד כאן לשונו. ברור שתשובתו הייתה על מה שנשאל אם צריך להתאבל, אבל איסור לא שמענו. So he's answering a question if you have to mourn, but we never heard anybody say that it would be asur to mourn. זאת ועוד, this and more. כנראה שדבר זה אינו מוסכם. This is not something that everybody agrees upon. שהרי מדברי הרשב"א שסיטטנו בראשית דברינו ניתן ללמוד שיש מקום לטפל על הפורש בדרכי סיבור. So, we said when we first read at the beginning of last week's class, we read the words of the Rashba. And he said that you can learn different laws, different ways of approaching things from, regarding somebody who removes himself from the Sibur. Shikin Ketab Sham, what did the Rashba write? ואף כשאמרו אמת עסקין, אמרו לעניין שאין קורעים ולא חלסים ולא מפסידים עליו, אבל עומדים עליו בשורה. Says, okay, yes, we don't rip, we don't tear, we don't bare our shoulder, we don't eulogize, but we still stand in a line for him. והנה עמידה בשורה היא מנהגי אבלות. Standing in a line is one of the customs of אבלות, and we still see that today. Let's say at the end of the morning prayers in the house, you see the Abirim come together, they stand in the line, they say the Siduk Hadin and the Hashkabah. That's part of the morning practices. And but the entire Teshuvah of the Rashba, you see he does not mention mourning whatsoever. And it would seem that possibly this is also the opinion of the Ramban, talking about Moshe bar Nahmani. Same thing for a person who is which is a person who commits suicide. Same thing, we don't get involved with such a person, we don't mourn. But the two writes that his relatives rip for him, they do kiri'ah. Okay? If you're far away, you don't have to for the sake of honoring him. Basically, we're talking about somebody who's just there. בכתב מרן הבית יוסף שם, שכך פירש הרמב"ן בתורת האדם, ונתן טעם לדבר קריעה חיובהו. Because קריעה is something that's obligatory. ואם תאמר זה שאינו עושה מעשה עמך פטורים ממנו, אף הם לא ינהגו עליו אבלות, ואיך עומדים עליו בשורה ועומדים עליו ברכת אבלים, אם אין נוהגים עליו אבלות עד כאן לשון הבית יוסף. And the Beit Yosef is telling us we have to, sit and figure out what exactly is obligatory upon us for such a person, what is not, what can be done, what cannot be done. Because we know at the very least we're doing shura, we're standing in that row, and you can be saying something. So what more would have to be done? And the continuation of what the Ramban says in the source itself. In the Ramban wrote Torah Adam, ולא מעשינו אלא בהרוגי ביתין מתאבלים אלא אוננים. Because the only place that we find that we don't do any sort of mourning is somebody who is executioned by the Beit Din. That type of person we don't do abilu. ולפי טעמו זה יש להשוות דין פורש מדרכי ציבור לעניין אבילות לדין מאבד עצמו לדעת לסברת הרמב"ן שהרי לא הוסיף מן הכלל אלא הרוגי דין בלבד. So based upon this, the only people who don't do any abilut for would be the person that's killed by the Beit Din. So therefore, somebody who commits suicide, would not fall into that category, and therefore you are allowed to mourn for such a person, and that would then hold as well for somebody who separates himself from the community, according to the opinion of the Ramban and I believe the Rashba. בעיין בשאלות שבועות חתם סופר שהעריך בשאלה בדין מאבד עצמו לדעת ונתן קו להתיר את הבן פני פגם משפחה הישן באורך. And the Hatam Sofer also dealt with a scenario where a person in the family committed suicide and he gave the green light, he allowed the family to mourn just so it wouldn't bring a stain, a blemish upon the family, to say, so people to talk, to say that they don't mourn for their loved ones. הוא הדין והוא הטעם גם פורש מדרכי ציבור להתיר אבלות אם היה בכך משום פגם משפחה. So the same thing over here. If there was a reason that people would talk about you because you're not mourning, or a scenario where there is a traditional family who a family member may have left the the fold of Judaism, and if they don't mourn, it's going to, be a negative sign upon them. So therefore, they can mourn. It's not haram for them. ויש עוד יסוד בהלכה להתיר אבלות במקרה זה, אך אינו עניין לנושאנו. Because there's another foundation in the halakha to permit abelut in a case like this, but it has nothing to do with our topic, so I'm not going to discuss it. Okay, next section. קדיש, הפטרה ועוד. בפרט זה, איני רואה צורך להאריך, כי פשוט הוא בגדולי הפוסקים שיש לומר קדיש אחרי מומר. Because I don't need to elaborate on this point, because it's quite simple from all the greatest poskim that even a mumar, somebody who has turned away from things, okay, you still say kaddish. Omnam harama katab shumar sheneherag biyad akum banav umrim alav kaddish umashma'a shemet amitato إن أمنيم عذاب قديش فهتام بنهراج مشوم شيش لو كبارا بهاريجاتو. But if you read Muram, okay, in his Darkei Moshe on the Shulchan Aruch, he tells you a mumar who was killed by goyim, his children have, children say kaddish for him, and we deduce from this that somebody who dies naturally, you do not say Kaddish. And the reason being that the person who was murdered, this murder causes a kapara, an atonement, and therefore now you could say Kaddish for him. בכתב בטורי זהב שהחילוק בין מת לנהרג הוא תלמוד ערוך בפרק נגמר הדין. Because in this distinction between somebody who dies to somebody who was killed is a entire section in Masechet Sanhedrin. וכוונת הרב לעצם החילוק כי דין קדיש לא נזכר בגמרא כלל. And the point here is that Kaddish is not something that's mentioned in the Gemara whatsoever. This whole concept that we say Kaddish, for somebody who passes away, not mentioned any place in the Talmud. וגם דעת הגרה נראית להשוות דין קדיש לדין אבלות כי ציין לעיין בסימן שין מין סעיף ה' כבר ציינו לעיל. And it would see that according to the opinion of the Gera, Kaddish is parallel to abelut, because he tells us to go look at Siman Shin Mem, which we looked at before and we know what the law is. אף על פי כן, דעת רוב גדולי הפוסקים כאמור, שיש לומר קדיש על מומר אף כשמת על מיתתו. But the opinion of the majority of the great poskim that we even say Kaddish for a mumar even if he died naturally. כבר המהרשה בגיליונו על השולחן ערוך כתב תמעיין בתשובת רד"ח רואה בנהרג יש לו קדיש גם כשיש אבלים אחרים ובאין אבלים אחרים גם אם מת על מיתתו אומר עליו קדיש וציין לעיין בתשובת מהרש הלוי. So, and they even have more sources including the Maharsha who also tells us to say Kaddish, and Maharash Levi also tells us to say Kaddish. So there's no problem with saying Kaddish, and in fact you should say Kaddish. במעיין מקור בתשובת הרד"ח עצמה יראה שכך הם דבריו באמת. But now let's go look at תשובת הרד"ח and see what he really says. שמעיקר הדין יש לו לבן לומר קדיש על אביו המומר משום שברא מזכה בה. Okay, so מעיקר הדין, from the essence of the law, a son has to say Kaddish for his father even if he's a mumar. Why? Because this is something that the bara, the son, mizakeh abba, he does his zechut for the father. ויש לבן זכות אביו אף על פי שהאב מומר לבע להכעיס. And even though the father did everything against the Torah and did everything just to anger, still you have to give him that zechut. إلا שאחר כך כתב מדין הקדמת האבלים האחרים עיין שם באורך, ואם כן, במקום שכל האבלים אומרים קדיש יחד, פשוט וברור שגם בן המומר אומר קדיש על אביו. And in a place where all the children and all the Abidim generally say Kaddish together, like basically in our situations, right? In our synagogues, all the Abidim say Kaddish together. So you're saying Kaddish together with all of them. Ve'af, she'archu debrei poskim bezeh bayoter. And even though the poskim dealt with this at length, na'atik ach keta katan medebrei Hatam Sofer. Well, still, I would like to give you a quote from the Hatam Sofer. He's telling us, bedin me'abed asmol da'at, regarding somebody who commits suicide. Okay, v'zol shono, and that's what he says. Ve'achar hasa'a zot omer. ما שמורגל דאין אומרים קדיש אחר המאבד עצמו לדעת לא ידעתי טעם הגון. The Hatam Sofer is saying, regarding the practice of not saying Kaddish over somebody who commits suicide, I really don't know a good reason for it. Because he did something bad, should we also not help him from not going down further? And if he already went down, shouldn't we try to lift him up? Abshalom, etc. David Amar, etc. Even with Abshalom, David said you have to try to lift him up from the 7 levels of Gehenna. Okay? Elisha, the same thing. Elisha Aher, I'm sorry. Elisha Aher, and even with Elisha Aher, okay, who's considered a heretic, Rabbi Meir helped to lift him up, and and they brought him up from Gehenna. Okay, and so among those, the Ashkenazim have a custom of sharing the Kaddishes, where each one takes a turn as to when they say it. Correct, Mark?
What does that mean?
I'm not sure.
So I've seen it. I remember in Flatbush High School that we had, unfortunately, we had people that had to take Kaddish. So let's say there's 2-3 brothers that have to say Kaddish for a father. They don't say it together. Each one has a separate time. Will say this one will say it this week, the other guy will say it the next week, or this one says it for Shahrit and the other one says it for Minha. They have a way of splitting up the Kaddishes. They don't do it all together like we do it. Every Kaddish all the time.
I thought they did that just in case one of them can't make it. They make,
No, they have a separate.
Wow.
Yeah. So in such a, only because I've seen it in Flatbush, I remember saying like, well, what's going on over here? Didn't you just have to take it? No, it's his turn to say it now. We don't do it all together. Like Ashkenaz men, you generally don't see like now we'll say, we'll have 20 people saying Kaddish together. They generally only have one person saying, right?
Yeah, we have a good attendance because of that.
So in a case like that, so you don't give this guy a portion, to say, to be part of the, of the sharing. That's what the Hatam Sofer is saying so far. Ulfize pashut she'im haben mekabbes asara bebeito. Okay, so now if this son gathers 10 people, he gathers a minyan in his house, she'en hefsed la'abidim yechol amor kaddish kol yom ben chodesh. So now there's no hefsed for the abidim. The other abidim don't lose out. So he could make Kaddish, he could have minyan in his house for the entire year and say Kaddish throughout the year, and everybody's okay with that. The ta'ama, ma ena omrim lakud alef chodashim de la nishve le'abi ve'rasha'a, hay gabra shave nafshe reshi'a v'niha le tipus le kapara al kadishono. Basically, do Kaddish for the whole 12 months because the guy was at Asha'at, let's say, and you're saying Kaddish, and these guys do Kaddish separately for the 11 months, and everybody is okay with that. This is what he's quoting to us, but let's find out why he's quoting this to us from the Hatam Sofer. Ma'ta pashut kemo shekatabnu la'el שבבית כנסת שנוהגים כל האבינים לומר קדיש ביחד אין שום מניעה שבין המומר יאמר קדיש עם כולם. So therefore, it's simple. What we said before, if all the Abidim gather together in the Beit Knesset, they're all in Knesset together, and they all say Kaddish together. Okay, and there's no reason to stop any one of the people that are there to not say Kaddish. She's just part of the group. But we learned something new from the words of the Hatam Sofer. שבין המומר אומר קדיש כל י"ב חודש ולא כשאר הבדים שפוחתים מי"ב חודש כידוע. But rather in this case the Ben Mumar says Kaddish the full 12 months. He doesn't leave out, a week or a month or anything like we do, that we try to minimize it and not show that the person that we're saying Kaddish for was a Rasha, because they say the deen of a Rasha in Gehinnom is a full 12 months. So we don't want to show that the person that we're saying for is a Rasha. So we do 11 months in a week, 11 months in 3 weeks. So, there's different minhagim of how to break up that last month. Okay, but for this person, the Hatam Sofer tells us it's the entire time.
That's why that's not why we take off a week, though.
Sure it is.
Oh, it is?
It is.
Yeah.
But why doing 12 months would resemble him being a Rasha?
Because the deen of a Rasha in Gehinnom is a full 12 months. So if you say Kaddish all 12 months, that means you're saying that
He's a Rasha.
he's a Rasha. So we don't want to say he's a Rasha.
We did a class on this last year, right?
We touched it maybe 2 years ago, I think.
2 years ago.
We don't want to make it seem like he was a Rasha. We don't want people to get the impression he was a Rasha. So we don't. But now in this case, for the Ben Mumar, the guy was a Rasha. So he has to say it all 12 months.
Works for me.
Works for you? Okay. Inshallah, it never has to work for you. בקצר המסע מלסט כל מה שנכתב בדין מאבד עצמו לדעת לעניין אמירת קדיש אחריו אך נסיין לעיין משדה חמד. Because basically, there's nothing much more for us to write about somebody who commits suicide. Okay, but you should look into Sideh Hamid, he's telling you. שכתב בפשיטות שאומרים עליו קדיש כל י"ב חודש וסייר את תשובת החתם סופר. So even the Sideh Hamid בחזקיה מדיני, who basically wrote a encyclopedic work on all types of topics in halakha. I think it's about maybe 10-12 volumes. He tells us that for such a person, for a person who committed suicide, you would say Kaddish for him the entire 12-month period, and he quotes the Teshubah of the Hatam Sofer. Shekin katab gam marana habif b'sefer Hayim Bayad. So he quotes B'Hayim Padachi as well, from his book Hayim Bayad. Lomar Kaddish v'la asot imud. You have to do Kaddish and you have to do special learning for this guy to help his soul. V'arab Petach HaDebir, hosif gam haftarah. Petach HaDebir also added haftarah. בכתב שאדרבה צריך להרבות עליו יותר משאר. He goes, no, not even that, you have to do more. והביא דברי הרב מעבר יבוק, דעל רשע שמת, טוב בלב לעשות צדקה אפילו אחרי י"ב חודש. Because for this person you have to continue praying and doing tzedakot even after the 12-month period. ולכן כל דבר שהוא עילוי ותיקון ראוי להוסיף עליו. Anything that will help to fix and correct the situation and raise his soul, it's worthwhile to do. וכתב עוד בסוף דבריו, שמש כתב מהריקש. דהיינו אומרים קדיש על מאבד עצמו לדעת, היינו דווקא קדיש דהוא עתיד לחד תעלמה. בשאר קדיש והשכבה וכולי, יכולים לומר וכולי. So, מהריקש ביעקב קסטרו, wrote that a person who commits suicide, you don't say Kaddish for. So what they're telling over here, he's not talking about regular Kaddish, is how the interpretation now is coming. I'm guessing he's pulling it out of either the Sideh Hamid or the Petach HaDebir, I'm not really sure. No, it's from Ma'abari Abok. That was saying, so there is a Kaddish called Kaddish Targum, is what we currently refer to it, but it's called Kaddish Duhu Atid Lahad Ta'alma. It's the Kaddish that we say on Tisha B'Av. Okay, if you ever paid attention, there's a special Kaddish of Tisha B'Av. In general, it's also the Kaddish that's said by the mourners at the funeral and or at the time of burial. In this community, they don't do it. Okay, sometimes at the cemetery they may do it, but at the funeral they don't do it over here. Okay, but technically that's the Kaddish that has to be said.
Who does it?
Everybody else. Okay.
Even Ashkenazim?
Even Ashkenazim, yes. So they're saying, so what Marikash is saying, you don't say Kaddish for somebody who
Doesn't say that
who committed suicide, he's only referring to this one time, this Kaddish of the Kaddish Targum, but all of the Kaddishas throughout the year, all the Yehi Shalamaz Ay Yisrael that you would do. בכל אריכות אך למותר ופשוט בהיות השלוחה למר קדיש ואזכרה ולעבור לפני התיבה לפתילה וקריאת הפטרה כל יום חודש אף יותר מזה ועיין השקלה בספרים מקור חיים השלם שגם בכל אדם טוב לנהוג כן ולומר קדיש אפילו כל ימי חייו כל שכן בנדון דידן. He goes, so for your father in this case, who was a bad person, you still not only should you say Kaddish, it's very important for you to say Kaddish, and you should get up and, and Hazan, and you should get up and have Mashlim, Maftiya, say the Haftarah, do Berachot, do all types of things you could do to help him out, because basically he put himself in a position where he needs all the help possible. So you should get involved and help out in such a sense, and not totally, write him off and ignore him. You wanted to say something, Mark?
No, it's great.
Okay. تشيب إنه شدك أخذ عساخا. So now I'm going to give you some advice. شتقرب مئود لأبيخ حوله بيمين كشيم إله. Get close to your father. Buddy up with him. This end of his life, he's very, very sick. These are rough times for him. Become his best friend. Get close to him. تشتدل لعورر بو بعدينوت ركشوت حرتا. Try gently, softly, kindly to awaken in him some sort of feeling, of remorse. Thank you, perfect word. Okay, and maybe he'll find favor in God's eyes. Maybe he'll straighten himself out. And maybe he'll start even thinking about teshubah. And who removed himself from the congregation more than Elisha Aher. And when he was sick, Rabbi Meir himself went to visit him. He told him, do teshuvah. He went, kept trying to push him back and forth till the last second. In the last second, Elisha, started crying. And at that moment he died. So he did some form of teshuvah at the very last second. It would seem that my rabbi, because Elisha originally was Rabbi Elisha, he was a teacher of Rabbi Meir. So it seems like, this last second he did, that teshuvah, and that's when, God took him. ما مكوم لسمحاش السماح بمئين إن تشوبا معيلة بدكتوكاش النافش. من الدبار بشوت بارو بريوتر تكسر هي ريعام لسطيت أفيلو إفس قصيه في معادات شوبا أفيلو برجع حنوش الحيم. Nobody knows how to value and how to measure up what teshuvah is and how great it is, even at that last second of life, the weight that it can carry for you and help you through. So get close to your father. Don't turn away from him. Don't just sit there bitter about, what he's done with his life and how you feel that you're religious and he's not, help him. Help him out if you can. But in a way that he's not going to get angry, obviously, he's telling you. You can tell from Ham's words over here. Right? So it's so nice how he says it. Beautiful words Rabbi Haim David Halevi is using over here. Soft and kind, so important. And I'm not telling you this so your father does teshuvah and now you're obligated to do abelut. That's not what I'm doing it for. Because that's a different mahloket among the Hachamim. I'm only telling you this so you could bring zechut, bring that merit to the neshama of your father. You'll help him out by awakening those feelings of teshuvah. And therefore he returns his soul to Borei Olam, in a state of teshuvah. אף על פי שהרהורי תשובה ללא שום מעשה אינם תשובה שלמה. Even though just thinking and having feelings of teshubah without action is not full teshubah. והאנשים בגהנם על אותם חטאים, and you still have punishment in Gehenna for those sins. אף על פי כן מועילה תשובה זאת לבל תרד נפשו שחת. It still helps that the neshama does not go all the way down. וכתברי הזוהר הקדוש, ואית מן הון למספספי וסלקי ואלין אינון חייבי עלמא וחשיבי ודיבייהו תשובה. ומיתו ולא יכילו למעבד לה. אילין דנו תאמן בגהנם ובתה מספספי וסלקין. חמי כמרה חמנותה לקודשה בריחו. Basically, you're saving it from going all the way down and from getting, punished and beat up and anguished, and God gives that, the neshama, the rahmanut, even at that last second, to remove itself from such a situation. ייתן השם ותצליח להטות אביך לעזוב דרכו ואב אל מחשבותיו וישוב אל השם וירחמהו ואל אלוהינו כי ירבה לסלוח. ואף גם זאת ישלח לו רפואה שלמה ויזכה גם לתקן את אשר שיחת תיקון גמור ושלם בפועל ועליו יאמר שלום שלום לרחוק ולקרוב אמר אדוני ולפתיו. Well, God willing, maybe he'll even, even though you think the situation is desperate, is without hope whatsoever, you never know. But Olam could switch things around and he'll have recovery and, and he'll go on the right path. It's a beautiful teshuvah. It's
wonderful.
It's a good ending.
The whole thing was good. The entire way he approached it. Because as I was reading teshuvah, I kept thinking how somebody might approach it nowadays. The guy's evil, the guy's bad, you just forget about him, if he doesn't want to do the teshuvah, don't even want to go visit him, don't care about him, what are you worried about what you're going to do afterwards? He's dealing with it.
It's beautiful. I can't even believe it.
Yeah.
He took it, but the whole thing, from the Avel to the Niftar.
Because he turned it into a humane condition. Yes. Because it's all part and parcel of what the Torah is. The Torah is, encompasses the entire life. It cares about all types of people. It cares about the living, the dead, those that have to mourn, how they're going to mourn, how they're going to deal, with the feelings and the opinions of other people on the street. Everything comes into play over here. This is a lesson for all of us. I thought it was a very, very important teshuvah to study. Hopefully it's something that none of us have to deal with, to be in such a crazy situation. But I think learning this can help us help people. We all get approached, my friend, my neighbor, my coworker, people have situations where they don't know what to do. And I think he gave us a lot of good guidance over here.
I thought the answer about the Kaddish was beautiful. The first one, is it Haradach? I thought that was, you're saying Kaddish to elevate the soul, so how much, you definitely do it for a Rasha.
Exactly.
For 100%. That's
you gotta do it, you have to help him.
Right.
More so than anybody else.
He needs it.
Common sense. He needs
exactly, he needs it.
So if you gotta do it for the Sadiq, you have to do it for
right. So now over here the Ben has to do zechut for the father, okay? Bara mezakeh abba. You have to, your father raised you, you gotta help him out now. The guy fell. You have to find a way to lift him up.
I believe it's also for the mourner.
Okay.
The mourner needs to heal from whatever happened.
You believe that, but
no, I'm just saying.
I'm saying we don't see any of that over here.
No, I know that.
I don't think we ever seen that. I haven't seen it, I should say, in any of the writings of the Hachamim.
No,
that is for.
That's just my extrapolation.
Mm-hmm.
In general, I think this is helpful, but I think even in this case, to take my theory that it helps somebody heal and it helps somebody.
I agree with you because only
keep the connection with God.
But only if you understand what Kaddish is. If you understand the words. If you don't understand the words, then it doesn't do that.
Yeah, you sanctify Borei Olam, everybody knows.
But most people have no. Ask 100 people, maybe one person will know what you're saying in Kaddish. That's my opinion. What do you guys think?
No, most people don't understand Aramaic. No, you're right.
Most people have no idea what it is. They just know it's a prayer for the dead.
No, yeah, that.
they have no idea that all you're doing is sanctifying God's name. You're saying how great God is. And in that sense, once you understand it, yes, it helps you as a mourner. Because you take consolation in God.
That's Haval, that we're not educating the people more so.
But that's what we've been talking about for years.
Torah. It's to sanctify God's name. That's the whole thing. So why am I doing it more so now?
I don't think people.
No, they don't.
I don't think people have an inkling. Ezra, what do you think?
When a rabbi sees a new rabbi at a knis,
Yeah.
and our people are very good about going to knis when they lose loved ones.
Right.
He's coming to knis and he's saying Kaddish every day.
Yeah.
The rabbi at the knis should go over and give him a little. Go through the Kaddish with him and explain to him this and that.
Have you ever seen that happen?
I don't know. It's a private thing. It doesn't.
I've never.
I don't know.
I think
it's not Tova.
I'm not saying it's not, Mark. It's beautiful advice, but I don't think it's actually happened. For a lot of people, it's a difficult time, and they don't want to be approached even. And for other people, it's like, this is a chore. I never had to come. I never had to be here early to say the first Kaddish and stay till the end and say the last Kaddish. Don't bother me. I really think a lot of people feel that way.
He wouldn't come. He probably wouldn't come if you explained to him in that way.
Maybe.
We'd probably love more people. Oh, it's not to raise my father as well?
No, it's...
No, but even if it's both, it could be tied in together.
No, it's okay. Just the other day, somebody passed away, and they said, okay, I gotta be Kaddish. Well, which Kaddish do I have to say? I have to be there from early? I have to stay till the end? I'm going, yeah, these are the Kaddishas, Oh, I can't do that. He's like, I'm like, listen, that's between you, God. Nothing to do with me.
And you have fun.
Yeah, whatever. It's like,
It's a commitment.
it's a big commitment.
It's a hard commitment if they're not doing.